just
about the
making our
Democratic
coffee. We'll
thing?
be
You
with you
gonna
in a
talk
minute
about
or
that?
so.
Or we
Thank
talk
you
about
for
we
your
walked in?
patience.
No.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the May 5th edition of the Dawn Patrol. And with us this morning is City Councilor Sean McDonough, maybe future City Councilor Cisco Kid, we call him.
Yeah, Francisco.
Bob Hoey, my good friend who used to be on the school committee. Maybe he'll be back on the school committee.
You never know.
And later on, we'll have Freddie Bahou joining us, hopefully, and I'm Tom Bomil. So we have a lot to talk about. We had an election in Drake this past Saturday. 7.9% of the voters came out to vote out of a possible, I think they said 11,000 or something.
Is
like
that normal on
Oh,
Saturdays?
normal.
Really?
It's normal.
It's the same in all.
It doesn't matter.
No, that's higher than Lowell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
Lowell-
that's higher
Lowell's
than
That's
that.
quite a bit. That's
Yeah.
quite a bit.
But
higher.
I mean, the election on a Saturday. Why Saturday?
Because they feel that a lot of more people are available that aren't working.
Okay.
You don't have to cancel school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
No.
only did that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They started at COVID. The
Yeah.
first
Oh,
one was COVID for that,
yeah.
that election in
I
COVID.
like that.
And they
I
even
think that's-
they cut the hours back because after 4 o'clock they were getting like 3 people to vote.
Yeah.
So they opened up the what do they call it, the voting
Yeah,
early.
yeah.
And they added an extra day to that, so there'd be more people, and that's successful. I mean, I really vote all the time.
I mean,
And
Can't run all the time.
what's that?
If Trump was running, they would have had more people.
oh yeah.
So yeah, Phil Tebow, unfortunately, he lost his 10th election. Great guy, just I think, and I'm not going to bring the women thing into it because there were 5 women on the ballot.
It was the sisterhood
As
got 'em.
John calls it, the sisterhood.
The sister.
And we have a brand new person on the Board of Selectmen. Fred, say your name because I always forget how to say her name. Wallholder?
Wallander.
Wallander.
If I said it right.
And she is a new member of the Board of Selectmen. Heather Santiago Hutchins topped the ticket, who was a good friend of mine. And Phil unfortunately lost. Renee Young, which I predicted would lose, just made a lot of bad moves in the last year or so. So we have a new school committee person, a new select person, and that's about it, So,
Wollander? Wollander?
Yeah.
Her stuff was everywhere.
Yeah.
She
She had 150,000
She
signs.
had, no kidding. No kidding. I don't find myself in Drake very often, but I was there and driving through. I went to Shaw Farm with Declan because they have 2 baby cows. So if you haven't gone to Shaw Farm recently, they have 2 baby cows out back, so you should go to Shaw Farm.
Oh, yeah, he is, yeah.
But I must have driven past 150.
She has a lot.
Wollander,
She had a lot of signs.
yeah,
They say
big
signs
signs,
don't
little
vote, but she
signs.
put a lot of signs up. Yeah.
They help.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
help.
And they call it the Town Hall West crowd. There's a Town Hall West, they call it. Then she had their backing, which consists of Lucky Vizina and Joe DeRocco and that crowd. And I think, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Warren Shaw was backing her too. So it's key, The new girl on the school committee, she just asked all the questions, did the right things, while Renee Young was just, going along to get along, as they say, and not saying the right things like Eric does and like you do, Sean. She was just going along with the crowd. So it's a new era, I had a nice conversation with the town manager in Drake last week. I was in town. In fact, it's actually our first conversation we had since she became the town manager. She has her hands full, but she's gonna stick it out. She's gonna do what she can best to get our finances back in order. So
What is it, about $3 million deficit, I believe?
something like that. Yeah.
She's making $220,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
And she'll stick it out for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, sometimes
what a struggle!
Sometimes the money's not worth it. But look at it.
There
When
are
you say
easier
now,
ways
now
to make that much
what's your
money.
manager at? 250, 275?
$1,000 a day.
Yeah, 275.
All right, so look at her. She's in a
Someone's
little town
gonna
making
well
220.
actually me, but-
She's in a little town making 220. Why wouldn't you stay in a little town?
Yeah, no.
Different kinds of problems.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So how are you, Sean? We got a lot on the council agenda tonight.
It's like 11 motions or something on the thing tonight. Not all of them are particularly, big, but
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
You have any?
I am on one. Belinda Councilor Duran and I put one in about the sinkhole, which I think at this point that goes in every year. But it's that time. The sinkhole over by Middlesex Community College and Lower Locks Garage, but I think they call it like the Pawtucket Prism Monument area.
Okay.
But it's if you're thinking about which sinkhole, which is kind of pathetic actually that we have to think about which sinkhole.
And they have names?
I'm gonna start
you gonna
naming them.
put
I'm gonna start giving them personalized.
Are you gonna put
names,
signs?
I think we should get little name tags for the sinkholes. But but the issue with these sinkholes is that the number of ownership groups that come in for whose fault that the ground is falling. Right. In I don't know. You assign blame because I have a very hard time. I think the city has a hard time. I have a hard time. You've got a canal that is operated by a hydroelectric plant that plays a structural role in the surrounding land. You've got
Usually
the
a
community.
non-responsive company.
It's also true. You have a community college that has a pretty large building over there, right? You have the national park, which has certain rights and easements around all of the canals. And then you have a little piece of state land, and you have some city land. It's downtown. Downtown is a real, and Lower Belvedere, but it's an absolute mess of institutional landowner and land rights when you have a problem like this. So hopefully we can get another round of clarity on what's going on with that sinkhole.
Yeah, yeah. And you had the letter that went into the Inspector General or the ethic. What was it? When we got in
do.
high school.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then there's another. There was something reading about Markley in the paper this week.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, that thing. Everything's busy in Lowell.
And the
We're at
election-
the center. I actually at Marty Meehan's event at the university.
Oh,
Somebody
looking for a job over there.
Oh, he donated $1 million. Didn't he?
All the job
1.5
sucker-uppers?
million.
2.5.
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. You want to name on your building? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty nice.
So Senator Markey was there, and someone from his office, he first, and then someone from his office they was starting to take a look at this data center thing in Lowell, because I guess the senator has been looking at them nationally, but Massachusetts, we don't have the kind of data center that the federal Senate, the federal government's been looking at. Like when they're talking these, neighborhood-sized. I think maybe what Barclay wants to be. That's right there buying property. But they were very interested in what's going on here. We're the first community in the Commonwealth that's put a moratorium on new data center construction.
Wow.
Maine, recently the governor in Maine just had vetoed a data center ban statewide in Maine. Everett looks like they're going to do something very similar to what Lowell has done. They haven't officially done it yet, but it looks like it's going that way. So it's kind of nice, actually. We talk a lot about Lowell being at the front of, whatever. But it's not usually, not that people like huge government, but it's not usually on the regulation and protecting the neighborhood front. So this is a different area that I think we're actually coming out as leaders right now. So hopefully we can come up with some sensible regulations that let the data center do its business without eating Sacred Heart.
Right. Cisco, what do you got going for you? You were
Not
away
much.
for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
a sabbatical. You're on a sabbatical.
I'm glad to be back with you guys.
feeling better?
I had a great vacation, but it seems like 1 or 3 flights I end up catching something. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to
It
give
happens.
my cold to anybody, so I stayed home. But I'm here. I'm getting back into finding out what's going on in the city. So
Are you still doing CAP and everything in the morning?
no, because Gary
Oh, that's
went
right.
to
Gary's not there anymore.
he
right?
went to late nights and.
Yeah. Yeah, afternoon.
Late night, 3 o'clock in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, it is for me.
This show is late night.
Late night, yes, late
Yeah, I
night
heard
show.
that. I heard Nutter took the show over.
Yeah, but
and-
I don't know if I can listen to Nutter.
Oh, I can't.
I like to see where they're gonna go, but I literally tried to listen the other day and I had to turn it off.
No, it's
Hey, I got some text from the audience. Miss Young had no answers to the questions asked and had an attitude problem.
You got that right.
Next, that's from Jay. Next text, the city paves over cobblestone. They never start on a clean slate. Just look at Shattuck Street. For an example,
The city didn't do Shattuck Street. That was a contractor through National Grid.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
it was approved by the city.
So I was going to say the problem, and this has come up at a couple council
I got
meetings.
two more texts before when you're
Okay.
done.
The problem to the texter is, was Shattuck done well? No, it wasn't. The city needs to do, and the mayor had said this at the last meeting as well, the city needs to do a better job at inspecting before things are turned over.
Tell Tommy to stop hiring his friends. Hire qualified people. Two more texts. Gail Flaherty from Lucky Oil is also very key component in the great political successes in Drake. Gail Flaherty is really the brains behind your organization. She deserves great credit. How many rounds of golf did Cisco play in Puerto Rico?
So I
Back
want to
you
say
guys.
he's right. Gail Flaherty's a heck of a person. She's what they call part of that Town Hall West thing they call it. She's a great person. She's
I like Gail.
Yeah,
She's
Gail's
nice.
a nice person. Lucky Vizina's a nice guy, but again, you know, you're pitting John Zimini against. It's like I haven't seen John in a while, but it's like that John Zimini crowd, which is Phil Tebow and that crowd, against the Town Hall West, as they call them, and yeah, they're all nice people. So
It's like having the Democratic City Committee, same thing.
I think a lot of local politics, and I don't know Drake it, so I don't want to. I'm gonna risk a foot in the mouth, but that's my character. So if I don't risk a foot in the mouth, what am I doing? A lot of local politics is kind of like, I don't know. I look at it as like 1930s national politics and earlier, but pre-FDR, pre-New Deal, when you had Democrats and you had Republicans, and one was red and one was blue, and they kind of all just did the same thing, and Democrats like Democrats and Republicans like Republicans, and it was more of an organizing fight for an in-crowd than it was like a stark ideological difference. That's what local politics kind of feels like. There's a lot more of that
oh yeah,
than
But
there
when you,
is.
when you only have, right, think about the 75,000 voters approximately in Lowell. 7,000 come out to vote. Most of them have been voting for years, and they vote the same ticket all the time. They're going to vote for the people that got them a job.
Yeah.
Out of those 7,000, the only way you're going to make change is give them something, either attach it to their welfare checks. They don't come out to vote, but guess what? I don't want them to come out and vote.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't want them to come out, but you hear 1,000 excuses about the elections. It's just the way it is.
They don't know what they're doing. I don't want people who never vote to vote.
Yeah, you got to get those 7,000, and that's not easy. It's not easy.
I want more people to vote.
What's that?
Was it,
I want more
you
people to
mean,
vote.
based that on they don't know what they're voting for, Joe, and you say you don't want them to come
Oh,
out and vote?
Tony, I don't know if you've ever golfed. Have you ever golfed in your life?
Yeah.
I've never golfed in my life.
Yeah.
Do you want to drag me in a foursome?
No.
So why would you want somebody who doesn't know anything about voting to vote?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like bringing me to golf
Sure.
or to foursome. I'm just going to screw
I think
everything up.
if you manage to get them to vote, if a candidate, and this is, and I've said this on the show a few times, I think it's on the candidates to get people to go vote. I really do. I think it's on the government at whatever level to kind of make it easy enough to stay out of the way. Don't put up giant hurdles. Don't whatever. But elections are about candidates mobilizing their voters to go vote. That's the whole game. So you want more people to vote. You need more candidates, better candidates, and they need to actually get their people out to vote. It can be expensive to get people out to vote, and so I think sometimes also what happens is if you only have, what did we have, 5 at-large candidates last time?
Yeah, something like that.
So you're going to spend your time trying to get new voters, or are you going to spend your time making sure that you're going to get the majority of the people that vote? There's only 5.
But is
You get
that
3
like
votes.
is that like a popularity contest now? If it is a popularity contest.
You've
I mean,
tried. Listen, nobody tried harder to get people out to vote than you,
I know.
Yeah.
I
especially Spanish people.
I tried very much, and I will never.
You went
do
to the
that
housing
again.
project. They don't vote.
I will never
You got to
do
go
that
back day of
again.
the election,
I mean,
they'll vote.
unfortunately, if you're not engaged, I guess you get whatever the engaged people and decide. Simple as that.
I
But
put people in my
8%
car.
But 8% in Drake it.
I said I put people in my car.
Yeah.
I had people drive. I had people pull. I would
it's key,
literally
getting people to
literally,
vote.
When I say 19, I'm like it was like gangs in New York, but without the violence. Just pull over, and be like, "Hey, come on, we're getting in the car. We're gonna go vote."
Yeah.
I had volunteers grabbing people. Hey, come on, we're gonna go vote.
And you probably had people
Why not?
that
No, I think
haven't
that's a
voted in a
great
long
strategy.
time that voted because you were running too. Would you say that's correct?
I got bullet votes,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Not really. Number one, you worked real hard. I know how hard you worked.
Yeah.
But I keep saying it. Number two, look at the name, McDonough. In this district, I mean, they've done a lot for people.
Yeah, but you also
Or I had
are
people-
working
I had
very
people-
hard.
I had people who were, and I haven't told Councilor Mercier this yet, but I had people who were older who were living in a couple of the senior buildings downtown, and they were older, and sometimes I vote in municipal elections. I said, I go, okay, the first time I voted, it was 1990, I forget which one,
Whatever.
and said, well, it was Rita Mercier was on the ballot, and
1920.
it was her first, or it was her second, or it was her third, but it was the first time anyone had saw me somewhere and said, oh, I'm running, vote for me. So I go and I vote for Rita Mercier. Well, what else do you vote for? Nobody. I go in, I vote for Rita Mercier. But since you talked to me today too, and I like you, I'm gonna go vote for you and Rita Mercier. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You do that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, Sean, I got a bunch of text messages, and you're gonna read them all, buddy.
Me?
Sean.
Me?
Sean.
Go ahead, Sean.
He has better eyes than us.
The city didn't do the Shattuck Street pavement. What a load of crap. Well, it's true. The city also didn't do the high school problem either. Well, so the city, these are different things.
Absolutely.
Also, the government blames it. No, it's not our citizens' letter, Jay. It's a contractor
Okay, it was.
Continue.
of the Middle Street sidewalk. No, I know the
No,
Middle
you have
Street
to read it out
sidewalk.
loud. Don't read it to yourself.
Okay. It was in your city, Counselor. Do I have to show you the picture again, Sean, of Middle Street sidewalk? The Middle Street sidewalk, it's so we're talking about the curtain that goes into Middle Street from the building owned by, oh my God, who owns the building?
TD Bank.
Well, TD Bank was a tenant. Wingate,
Okay.
Wingate is the building manager, but the curtain is, I believe, last time I talked to the city administration, the curtain is the responsibility of the building, so you got to make them do it. Working on it. Please stop blaming the contractor for Shattuck Street. The city is responsible for the public roads. If you hire terrible contractors, that's on the city. Make the contractor fix the road. Bart, I don't disagree, Bart. I agree with you, Bart. The problem, as I said after I said the city didn't do Shattuck Street, is that the city does not inspect what it is taking ownership of, and then we find out, oh, whoopsie doopsie, we did it. The person we paid to do it did it wrong, and it's something that should have been easily observed during the takeover. The one thing I'll give to the high school is that at least the most recent high school problem, which was those beams that weren't connected, the foundation issue is inexcusable. I don't understand how the city didn't check. Oh, you only did 2 boring holes before they signed off on moving forward there. On the beams that were behind all of the construction, I can understand, in 1990, when did that finish?
You mean the addition?
Because the problem, so in
it was
Coburn,
actually the 80s.
in Coburn Hall in the 1980s building,
Yeah.
there was work done in the late 80s, early 90s as part of when they built the 1980s building.
Okay.
And they were supposed to be reinforcing these wood support beams, and they put these.
Sean, you didn't lock the door, did you?
I did not.
Good.
They put these steel beams on to reinforce, but then they did not attach the bracket to a structural wall. So really, all they did was add weight to the beam.
Mm-hmm.
But all of this was then hidden behind drywall and insulation and HVAC, and so you couldn't see the support beam and the connection when the
Right.
city went to inspect it. I also don't think that I would have a hard time blaming the city for, well, you didn't think to peel back the drywall and make sure that the contractor welded the support beam
Sure,
to the
sure.
that's
Oh, Jay's getting after you. So which side of your mouth should we believe, Counselor?
Picking on
Respect.
Sean's day, gee.
Let's go, Jay.
You got fans.
They must be.
He's
wenching us
he's
people.
mad. He's mad.
Sean
He's
wants to
mad.
meet you in the parking lot.
What?
You want to meet?
No,
wanna meet Jay in the
what's
parking
he
lot?
mad about? What's going on?
Must be a winch and us supporter.
No, I get it's frustrating, but it sometimes it's whatever.
Well, Sean, I don't know how much motoring you do around the city, But the city just paid a fortune for the new Lord overpass. That's our road. We paid for it.
Yes.
We paid for that bus lane
The
that the
stupid
bus
bus
company
lane, yeah.
doesn't want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And they were never consulted about it, so Tommy Golden didn't call all of his, I guess he's not friendly with the LRTA. He didn't call them. But that was all on Eileen Dunham. Eileen Dunham
Yeah, I was
built
gonna
that.
say, Golden had nothing to do with the Lord overpass.
But Golden does have to do with the crosswalk that's actually picking itself up and going away. Those fancy little red crosswalks that look beautiful,
Yeah.
they're decaying and creating little holes.
Yeah.
And we're just going to ignore them until when?
I know we just so on the Lord Overpass one, I don't drive on that street very often, but I do know that one of the red crosswalks that was floating away over on
They're beautiful, but
Jackson Street by the garage over there. It's not actually on Jackson Street. It's on the side street that you use to enter into the garage. I do know that they just repaired that last week, which was about time because I mean, you could that pothole. Declan could go swimming. Declan needed swimmies if it rained to go near that pothole. So
You know, I use Lord's Overpass.
Freddie Bahou's due here at 6:35.
Yeah, every day I drive over Lord Overpass.
I can't
heading to the
stand
high-
it. I can't stand it.
Every day, and I'm telling you, it's the best for me.
Really?
Coming
Yeah.
from Moore Street, Lawrence Street, the Moore Street, the Thorndike Street, I go right to the high school, no more than 10 minutes,
Okay.
no more.
But if you come
I
up
take
middle,
the School Street Express. I go right over the
It's all
O'Donnell
right.
Bridge and stay straight until I go through the Highlands, come down
But-
Liberty Street,
but
and I'm home.
It seems like the light. If you come at Middlesex Street, okay,
Yeah.
and you come to that light in front of the courthouse. You get like 5 cars through that. They got to synchronize those lights better, I think, because it's. You're right. You're
Correct.
that end of it. Coming
The
from
main
your-
the
road,
light,
I-
it's
I
the
will go
lights.
that
The lights
way.
are garbage.
I will go this way even today. I'll go down overpass over Dutton Street up through Drake, but it's horrible. Those lights are.
You know, Sean's area, right, District 4, I drive down every Tuesday to come here, Lawrence Street and then Elm Street,
Right.
and I seen all these potholes filled. I did. I think they're listening to them.
Well, look at how long it took for John's thing down there on Elm Street.
Well, it's been fixed.
Till he got on the council. Jeez.
Yeah.
I only had I had 7 lawn signs or whatever surrounding that pothole. But no, I also think just to until I wait on Jay or whoever to send another one. But at some point, I don't know how anyone who watches this show could think that I am shy about kicking at this city administration or at really anybody if I think that they're wrong. I don't really think I've ever done doublespeak on if I actually think there's a problem at kicking the guy in the shin who I think has made the problem. So, but I'm also not going to be completely just unreasonable and blame someone who, you don't like or that one don't like or whoever for every problem in the city. National Grid did a bad job. We didn't inspect it. It's a double blame. We do need to do a better job inspecting Shattuck Street, but that's still not. The city didn't do the work. The city does do work with pothole filling. You got a pothole that won't get filled.
The
That's
mayor to the rescue.
Thank you.
Eric just sent this picture right
That's the
now.
one I was talking about.
This is a picture of the repair the council is talking about. So where is this?
So Jackson Street is off to the side. That's the garage on Jackson Street. I don't know the name of the side street. Lowell Community Health Center is
I
right
gotcha.
across the street.
Yeah, where you take a left to go up to Middlesex.
Right.
Yep. So you sneak in by the old WCAP. You take
Yes.
take a right on Jackson
Yeah.
Yep.
by the old WCAP.
Yeah.
Go up the street, take your first left.
Because I come in from Drake this morning. I go over that bridge, the Blue Bridge, the Songus Bridge, and I cut down Jackson. I cut it down that street and past Elliott's, and
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
that
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And then
Are they gonna
you want to
paint
read this
that?
one, Sean?
bull fertilizer. I'm watching my dad's taxes go through the roof, and just excuses and blame to its citizens. And no, not a fan of train changes.
trains.
I don't know that I've blamed a citizen yet, but okay. Have a good morning.
I think they're talking about the engagement on.
I'm saying more people should vote.
I agree with you. I mean, it is what it is. But is it because people are working so much to pay their bills that they don't have time to go out and vote? Which seems like there's plenty of time to vote, but is that a reason? I'm just
But also,
curious.
some of the reason you're watching your dad's taxes go up, and I'm sorry, taxes going up is awful. I also pay them, and you're never supposed to tell people they have to pay more. But you know what? It is what it is. You ever go grocery? Here's the analogy I'm at this point. How often do you go grocery shopping?
Couple
Every
times a
day,
week.
3 or 4 times a week.
You go 3 or 4 times a week.
Retired guys.
All right.
I'm about 4 times.
Yeah, once a week.
My wife
probably.
and I are a
Yeah.
once a week person.
Yeah.
But if we miss it, and then so imagine you go grocery shopping once a week. You don't go grocery shopping 1 week. You eat everything else in your house, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I'll make dinner out of 5 pieces of goldfish and a slice of bread. I don't want to go grocery shopping. Well, now I didn't go grocery shopping for 2 weeks. When I go grocery shopping, I get a bigger bill. I'm not suddenly paying way more
Yeah.
for groceries. I got more to buy. In
Yeah.
the city of Lowell, we have spent decades. This is not a recent problem. Decades just not paying the bill, just not doing the work, just sitting there watching, roofs of buildings that we own cave. And
Not
leak.
maintaining
Not
buildings.
maintaining buildings, not maintaining roads, not doing any sort of capital planning, infrastructure improvement, basic maintenance, in going, wow, isn't it amazing we only raised taxes, 0.5%? Oh, no raise this year, no tax increase this year, to the point of, I think last year we had something like a $12 million excess levy capacity. So we have towns all around us, Drake, Methuen, Burlington had to put an override in, where they're voting on overrides. Lowell doesn't. We're not even in an override discussion because we are so undertaxed. And someone's going to throw something at me through the TV. But you get $12 million just.
Sean, the city power pisses through the federal monies we get.
Correct.
I mean, when you have a police cruiser that has $10,000 worth of blue lights on the car, why do we need $10,000?
I agree with you, but
if we bought a new cruiser today, you would approve $10,000 lights to go onto that car. It doesn't need them.
What I'm saying.
Why do we need the best street? We need a street
I know we got
sweeper
these state-of-the-art
with radar.
Yeah.
What-
Yeah, autopilot or whatever.
Why do we keep overspending? We need a fire truck that drives itself. Why do we need to keep doing
So we
this?
we need to do both. We need to rein in, no matter how. We can rein in the spending. We need to rein in the spending. I am team rein in the spending. We gave all sorts of people jobs. We gave people jobs for whatever reason people want to speculate. We have some positions that I don't really understand the function. We do. We really do. We spend $10,000 on police lights. Okay. We can cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. At some point, we haven't maintained any of our buildings. The people of Lowell, and Jay can say I'm blaming them again, but it was an overwhelming voted for this high school to stay downtown with the price tag that it comes with, and that was a ballot referendum. That costs money. You want to complain about do you want a 4-wheel drive Jeep, or do you want to be able to drive a sedan in Lowell? I would like to be able to drive a sedan in Lowell. Fixing the roads costs money. We have for decades made horrible financial decisions in this city of we're not going to put money into lasting capital improvement and maintenance, and we're going to that's Jimmy. Jimmy's got a great woo-woo company. Let's give Jimmy a contract for $15,000 for the woo-woo. Whatever.
We're going to help Jimmy out.
Correct, and that's wrong. Both are wrong. You got to do both. But we are, at least I am, doing my absolute best to read through these asks for money. We haven't gotten the budget yet, but and make sure that what we're paying for is actually something that we need, and that it is the version of what we're buying that is best for the city. I have been in a cage match on the Disability Commission over an $11,000 contract for 3 months now, because there is no way that this $11,000 is actually necessary. There is no way there is not a company offering this for less, but we did some lazy things to not go out to bid, and so we're trying to do an extension on a contract we already have, and this and that. 3 months. No, we're not. No. Okay, but now will you do it? No. Okay, how about now? No. And that, I think, is playing out in multiple places. But it doesn't change the fact that none of us had a big question mark above our head when you didn't get a tax increase. Taxes go up everywhere in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, everywhere in the country. But in the city of Lowell, there were years where we went, there's no tax increase here. Nothing increased in cost. Nothing increased in cost. That's insane. I'm sorry. It's insane. And here we are.
And it's coming, our taxes are gonna go up again.
They're going to go up. They're going to go up. And there are mistakes that were made. And part of the mistakes is exactly what John is talking about. Silly spending. There is silly spending. But there is also, it would be, we burn through city managers in this town because there's always going to be another state rep that's retiring, right? It seems to be what we
wait
do.
for Vander to take over.
Well, you get your last three, you make the last 3 years high. I get it. But because of that, and it's just been the same thing on the school side, people make spending decisions that are politically popular for the manager and for their council because somebody else is going to get stuck with the bill. Unfortunately, there are good and bad decisions happening right now in the city and have all the whatever. But we're also getting stuck with the bill. Someone winds up holding the bag. At some point, you keep kicking the can down the road, you hit the end of the road. And I think we're there. The last time we were there was the 90s.
Okay, so speaking of the can down the road, we got all these text messages come through. The text message thing got fixed yesterday,
Oh, you have it back. Cool.
so now we can.
Cool.
Mr. Bowman, why don't you lean in and read this quadrant of text?
Isn't the excise tax and gas tax supposed to pay for the roads? I thought so. We shouldn't raise property taxes to pay for the roads. I thought that was excise tax was for, wasn't it? I'm not sure, but
Part of it,
yeah. Double speak, cut taxes, and we need more money. If the city had a functioning downtown and full of social services, then maybe we could get a decrease in taxes. That's from Jay. Fairmont has not been paid since 1972. Is that okay?
Not okay.
We did vote, and it was called an audit. That's why we didn't trust politicians and won't vote. Jay. With national grift be held responsible for Shattuck Street, are they going to fix the road?
They should be. It's within 5 years.
Back to you guys.
And I want to go back to that comment about, I talked to a person last week, 60-something years old, votes every election. They would not vote in the Drake election. They'll never vote again because of the audit vote. They feel it's a waste of time. We were supposed to have the legislature audit. They said, why? Well, they say if you don't vote, your vote won't be heard. Was that what we're saying is? They will never vote again. They said,
But is that the best resolution? Because now you're walking away and
But
giving
look at this
strength
poor
to the
girl.
left.
This
I
poor
guess.
girl is
Yeah.
fighting like tooth and nail to
Yeah.
get this audit done, and everybody's against her.
I know it
You know?
is awful.
You know why? They don't want you to see the problems and the mistakes
Yeah.
that they have made.
You know,
I think,
and every
Sean,
one of
how
our,
old
and
are
every
you?
one of our
30.
reps. Not to interrupt. Every one of our reps
Uh-oh.
voted for it.
You know, he's 30 years old. That's a pretty young city councilman.
Morning, Mr. Mayor. You want to go on?
I mean, I like
Guys,
Sean.
the mayor's on the phone here.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric.
Good morning, everyone. Well, we go back to the roads thing, and money shouldn't go there. From the excise tax should be there. If you look at the Chapter 90 monies, which is where the money comes from, the funding source for cities and towns, it has not been increased since 2012. Yes, they have another $100 million that they put in it, but that's to go to rural communities. And that's where those funds went. So if you look at 2012, the value of $1 back then, and you look at a value of $1 today, you'll see that the state isn't doing us any justice. And then because they took those funds and put them other places, then you look at the millionaire tax, which they were going to use for roads and everything. What they did with it is they switched it over and they bailed out the MBTA with the money. And it didn't even go to the schools on the percentages that it should have. And when you start looking at how they're bailing themselves out for poor decisions, if we went back to the 90s and you look at the city of Lowell, we had an ashes and waste department, and they picked up the trash. Well, the reason why they contracted it out was because they never replaced equipment during those years. So mid-90s, all the equipment was failing. It needed to be replaced. And the cheapest way to do it was to contract everything out. And that's what our government has done. And now we're taking leadership roles where we're saying, look, we're in challenging times, not because of, we got wheeled with inflation. We're getting less value for the dollar. You look at the healthcare cost of employees. That's most of the generation that's taking your funding. You look at the cost of electricity. If people think that their home electricity went up by what? At least 50%, right? So if we look at that and you think of over 50 buildings the city owns, how much did theirs go up? It went up the same. The Department of Public Utilities is completely useless. And we need to fight to say, hey, look, we're not going to deal with this anymore.
Well, Eric,
but
I
at the
think
state
one of
level,
the
there's
points,
too many of them.
Eric, one of the points that came up this morning is that the city just doesn't check with people. Like, look at Eileen Dunhu's project, the Lod Overpass. Nobody checked with the bus company. We paid for a bus lane that the bus company won't use because they don't think it's safe. There's a lot of reasons for it, a lot of good reasons. And so we paid for a bus lane. I talked to my police friends, and they're bitching and moaning about how many lights they have on their police cruisers. They're way overloaded with equipment on their new police cruisers. Why do we continue to blow extra money on all this stuff? And I'm told the street sweeper has options that the guy never uses. Why do we buy this stuff?
I can't help it that operators don't understand the equipment that they use and there's functions within it, or the mechanic who orders it. I mean, as a elected official, we don't dive that deep into it and say, okay, do you need, Goodyear tires, or are you going to buy Uniroyal? At some point, it's the function of the people who are ordering these things. Well, and, at one time we had a guy who worked for the DPW who used to order the equipment. He was there over 50 years, John Wickus. So when you look at some of these things, we have to go by what they're saying. And in the police end, again, they share unit vehicles. So some people use the radar, and some people are more neighborhood policing through calls. So there's a lot of differences in a lot of equipment when you have a big city and large employees.
I understand we buy, so you don't think we buy any extra toys?
No, John, I don't put words in my mouth.
That's what you're demonstrating.
They're not toys. I mean, it's not like someone's going out and saying, hey, let's go in the woods and, we got all quads chasing kids down the road, which maybe we should buy, but then somebody will complain that you have quads.
So I think you guys should buy some electric bicycles for the cops and let them ride around the city electric bicycles. They love them. They're great stuff.
Yeah, but then somebody will come out and say my taxes are going up while you're buying toys. So there's a balance that we have to go through. And right now, there's going to be layoffs. There's cutbacks, and your taxes are going to go up at least 4.5% to 5%. And that's just the reality is that we have to pay the same bills that the homeowners are paying, and we're cutting back at the same time, just like the homeowners. And we're trying to balance things, the quality of life things that all of your people who are texting in are asking for. The sidewalk, this, that, and everything else. So it's not that easy to just sit back and say, okay, the sidewalk downtown needs to be replaced. Okay, I just cut back the money, so I can't do it.
You guys got any
At
questions
some
for the mayor?
point, we have to be responsible with the spending. And as Councilor McDonough said, for 100 years, they didn't spend the money in the right places. I would give Drake a plop. They have a new police station, the fire station's done, all of their buildings are done. Sure, there's a little bit of a money. No kidding, there's going to be a little bit of a money thing. But as we spend it in future dollars, it's going to be a lot worse in the city of Lowell than where it is in Drake. Right now, yeah, we're in better shape because we haven't spent those dollars yet.
So, Eric, on tonight's meeting, anything on the hit parade that deserves some noting before the meeting?
I don't want to give anybody any ammunition. I like when it's nice and quiet, but there are some things. Councilor Chow has motions on for the way that we vote or we design voting. I think that is something that we were asked not to do yet until we had more information on it, but it's on the council floor, so it'll be interesting to listen to watch that.
And last comment from Jay, the reality is that the city is not in good shape like they tell us. You want to comment on that?
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think we're moving into the direction that we all want. Yesterday, I went to a ribbon cutting for a bioversity, which means that they're training kids in life sciences that are actually kids who didn't get into colleges, and those kids are all employed. There's 135 that have been employed through this program so far, and we're moving people in direction where we have jobs coming to the city. That's the value, is we got to get revenue sources coming in. So we need businesses to pay our bills. If we just keep sitting back and asking government for affordable housing, we're just going to be one big Shaughnessy Terrace. And years ago, we knocked down Shaughnessy Terrace and said we wanted a better life, and we went into affordable home ownership. But somehow we keep forgetting that because the millionaires and the rich are the ones who are building this affordable housing, and we're not getting businesses. So right now, we're pushing for businesses. We've had Avid come in. We're looking at, that whole Hamilton Canal with Draper and everybody. So as we watch students grab.
Go ahead. Eric?
We know that we're being saturated with a workforce, and that's the question: is how do we give people jobs that we're saturated for?
Okay, I got two more comments here, then I'll let you go. Dracut is like every other community in the crooked state. Blame the people and raise their taxes. Last text is from your fan club. I'm a fan of the new street sweeper. It looks awesome. It does a better job than the old tin can. The mayor's doing a great job. Thanks for calling in. That's from Bart. You're the best, Eric. Appreciate it. Thank you. Break it up there, buddy. I think we lost Eric.
Okay, so, well,
The string broke.
Wow, there's
Mayor
a
was
lot.
on. Welcome
there's
to
a
Fred
lot.
Bahou.
Thanks, Eric.
School Committeeman Fred Bahou who's joined us.
Thank you. I showed up about a half
Right.
hour late, but I'm glad to be here.
John, what is just to go very quickly back in Freddie's.
Freddie, chuck your chair over to it, Sean. We're in the back of your
Sure.
chair. Chuck it
Yes.
over to it, Sean.
Yes.
What was this thing I read in the paper a week or two ago about a $2.5 billion investment in the city? Am I correct in those figures? Some investment.
It must be out of you, Lowell. I would say Lowell.
No, this is the city.
This was
Somebody's
That's
going to invest
front
money into
runner
the city.
this is the front runner thing. It was yes,
All right. So some company's going to invest money into the city.
maybe
Okay. All right. Okay.
And
very
speaking-
early. Yeah.
And speaking of investments, the Greater Lowell Tech took in a lottery recently, which none of us are really happy about. But it seems like Maura Healy is giving out extra money to all the vocational schools in the state. She handed around $70 million
Wow.
most recently this past weekend.
Wow.
So Greater Lowell Tech was the recipient of $2.5 million.
Wow.
So we're looking to improve our facilities as well as, try to get more students in our building. So we're hoping to use that $2.5 million very wisely.
Little
never
bit of
hear-
hush money. Is that-
It's-
Stop talking about the lottery.
she gave it to us.
Some
Not
money.
sure why. She gave $3 million to Assabet. She gave, I think, $2.5 million to Neshoba Tech. I mean, some really small vocational
It's funny when
schools
you-
are getting big.
When I think of the vocational school, you never hear of any, maybe it's quietly, controversies out there. You've got good superintendents, seems for the last 10 or 15 years. You don't hear the controversies that you hear in the big city. But maybe, I don't know, I'm sure there are controversies, but you just don't
Well,
hear
you
about
got
them.
people like me saying, yeah, the Greater Lowell Technical High School is a great place.
Yeah.
But they don't take all children. Not like Lowell High has to do.
Yeah.
Lowell High has to take everybody, no matter if they slap their mother out, okay? And the vote don't. You're going to see in a few years, like Fred just mentioned, the lottery.
Yeah.
I'm for the lottery. How's that? I'm for it. Why? The kids that deserve to be in there should be in there. And what's happened over the years, and I don't blame parents, send your kid to the Voc. You don't want to send them to Lowell High so they can vape their heads off. Obviously. And the Greater Lowell Technical High School is going to go down a little bit. There's no doubt it's going to affect it in a negative way. But at the same time, for years, I couldn't see some of the kids that didn't get in there.
Bobby,
Some
I-
kids can only do it by the hands. They can't go to college. You're all going to go to college.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Lowell High School. If your kid's really smart, they can go to Harvard, MIT, right out of there.
Absolutely.
We give over $500,000 in scholarships out of Lowell High. But people are afraid of it. That's the real truth. There,
But you've
most,
also been an advocate to get vocational training in the Lowell High School. You've been
Fred
talking about
did that. Fred finally
But I
pulled
know
that
Fred
off.
did, but you talked
I
about that.
tried.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tried to put a few electricians and plumbers, but believe me, the fight still goes on. I went to Lowell Trade.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna ask Sean to read these.
the shop teachers weren't looked
You're
upon
the teacher,
the right
man.
way.
Go ahead, Sean.
Who's sending these? Is this Jay?
Your typical Lowellian.
Okay,
Typical Lowellian. Who
Typical
said that?
Lowellian. Okay. Why would anyone want to be rich? The first thing government does is tax the rich. Mustn't be as much as you think, because people still really want to be rich. So I think they still are doing pretty well. How much money has been spent on Front Runner City? Too much. With no shovel in the ground. I don't know how many times I can make the same criticism. I stepped in, bullcrap, silly spending. Give the manager a raise. Okay. Have a good morning. Guys, I don't know. I don't know how much clearer I can be. There are 11 of us. I need to get steel-toed boots for how much kicking I do. My toes are getting sore. Okay, everywhere I go at this point, the people who you're mad at, they yell at me because I'm being too mean to them. I try to take a couple deep breaths and stop using as many insults, and now you lump me in. So that's fine. I get it. But as a better politician from Lowell than me said to all of you complaining about taxes and tax cuts, I'm not Santa Claus. I'm not Santa Claus. You're not getting a tax cut. We're not going to use the money and buy scratch tickets because, maybe we'll hit $1 million and we can do the potholes without raising your taxes. Taxes are going to go up, as the mayor said. Electricity costs more money. Gas costs more money. Health insurance and pensions cost more money. These are obligations. There's no way out of it. And we also spent about 100 years just not spending money on necessary infrastructure. Sorry.
Sean, I would
sorry.
advocate
No.
for people to leave money to the city of Lowell in their will. But the city, if they did that, there are a lot of people who really love the city, and they'd leave like $1,000, $10,000, $100,000 to the city. But Golden would just find a place to piss it away.
Well,
He won't use that to lower any taxes.
One of
We
your-
have $100,000 just came in for Mary Mink, the late great Mary Mink, and what we're going to do is we're going to buy a statue of her for it.
One of your options, one of your options would be, and I think they do really good work. So one of your options would be Project Learn in the Lowell School Fund, because that is not administered by the city at all, but it does go directly to the benefit of Lowell public school students. So, you want to give money to the city? You want to give money somewhere for Lowell people?
Well, Tyler Park was donated.
Tyler Park was donated.
So
was
by
Shed
a
Park.
resident that passed away
So was Shed
Thank
Park.
you.
and said utilize it.
Thank
right?
God with
Yeah.
restrictions, otherwise we'd have a school on Shed Park.
Exactly.
South
Well, or
Common,
something, or
South
something,
Common
right?
is not supposed to have a school on it, yet we found a way to do it.
But it was earmarked. And, the people want to, and we all know what government looks like. It is tax and spend. So do people really, do I really want to give $100,000 in my will to the city of Lowell when I know it's just sort of going to get, what should I say, thrown at the
Well,
wind?
when Marty dies with the millions he has in his bank, he's going to leave it all to Lowell.
No, but somebody said earmarked. If I had $2.5 billion, I said I'm leaving it to the city hall, but it's got to be used for this, and this. They can't do it on that, and that. It has to be whatever I say, right?
That is correct.
Right. Right.
Tom, you want to
That
read
is
this one?
Unfortunately, if the city manager came on, you wouldn't need to take the arrows from us, Jay. Came on
That's
the
fair.
topic
I'll
of
take
it.
that.
That's-
I'm not complaining. It's a crappy year. I just am giving it back. That's all. I don't take myself that seriously. You can insult me. I'll
And
laugh
Sean,
about it
you
later.
said about the steel-toed boots. Or Dougie
Yeah.
Willett was a selectman out in Drake. He used to say he'd have to put his bulletproof vest on because he was like you. He spoke his mind. He didn't.
We like that. Let's change topic. Give the counselor. a
No,
rest.
this is
Let's-
fun. This
No,
is like something-
Freddie Bahou's
I got a question for Freddie.
I can pipe in. I
no.
pipe in whenever I'm ready.
Freddie,
Heck no, it's like WWE. I'll head out. You can take my time.
no, Freddie. Childcare is a big issue, and it's going to be a big issue in midterms. You think the vocational school could increase their child care program? I think there's an opportunity for both child care and for students to learn the business of child care, which is obviously going to be a big issue in the next couple elections because people are working and not getting ahead because child care is so expensive and they're making decisions based on childcare, and that's coming front center to politics and elections.
Cisco, I understand. I agree. I mean, people are paying for one child up to $1,200 per month to go to childcare while they go to work, and that's a very difficult thing to swallow. We do have a tot shop. We do have a childcare program over at Great Lowell Tech. Our biggest problem is space constraints and the law. So we can only put in so many children in that particular space in order to satisfy state standards. Do we have the students that can go ahead and do the childcare? Yes. On days like this, when it's sunny and 80 outside, could we use more of the outside facilities? Yes, we can. However, unfortunately we cannot grow that particular program. We did get to grow recently the electrical program. And and this $2.5 million is going to be for the HVAC refrigeration program. We're going to expand it with these monies that we have received. But, we're also going to eliminate one program, I can't think which we are, so we're always constantly looking. The good news is Lowell Public now has vocational programming. So could they consider doing childcare? And I know it's a topic of conversation because we're talking about universal pre-K that the governor will fund for us, and we're talking about putting it in the freshman academy. So could we at that point have some type of universal childcare, so not only to drop off the 4-year-old preschooler, but to drop off his or her little brother or sister? So that is something that at Lowell High School they are looking at trying to possibly implement. It is a matched program with Lowell Public, with Greater Lowell Tech. We have to have the conversation with Greater Lowell Tech. And that's what I'm doing there. I'm ultimately that segue in between when they're like, this is undersubscribed, Fred. You shouldn't be doing it at Lowell. And then I say, let's at least have the conversation. So that's the one benefit of having me on both boards, that the line of communication is always available. So, yes, childcare is a major issue. I know it is. I have 4 kids, and they're all of childbearing ages. So I know it's going to become a real burden for them, and I know it's a burden for the United States. Ask Sean McDonough.
It's
right?
expensive.
Yeah. The previous burden to this was college education, right? The college loans.
Yes.
And how much debt people had and so on and so forth. The new biggest burden is childcare.
It's the same people with the college loans, Freddie.
Yes,
I
it
got a
is.
student loan and then I got a kid. It's like, you're going to pay for the kid to, what are you going to
Yes.
do with him all day?
Right.
You can't leave it,
And people aren't having children anymore. And,
Why would they?
And to Tom's question, just a little bit ago, what goes on at the Voc schools, they're always sort of, you don't hear a lot coming out of it. There might be some, some stuff happening on the inside, but we really don't know about it. At the end of the day, we're a very segregated population, right? We don't have to take in all those kids in Lowell. We don't have to take in all the kids in Drake. Right. We're only a high school, and the high school is very large at 2,300, but Neshoba Tech is a very small high school at 1,200, right?
Wow, that's small. Wow.
But the problem is that we're not a big school district, so we can really concentrate not only on them working with hands, like Mr. Hoey said, we concentrate on actually working and getting them on co-op and getting them work ready. So we're able to focus right in on that kid as they come in the door. Where at Lowell Public Schools, Bobby, we're taking in, like he said, the kid that is constantly being unruly at the house, being unruly in the classroom, having a very difficult time, with their medication and so on and so forth. And Lowell Public has to take every single, and Drake at Public has to take in every single, and Lawrence, and so on and so forth. So we do have a pretty segregated population, even with the lottery. It's still going to be a segregated population because we're going to be able to work with those 2,300 students and focus on those 2,300, not the 15,000 that Lowell is dealing with.
Okay, Sean, you want to read these?
Great first hour. Child care is the responsibility of the parent, not government's responsibility. Maybe that's why costs go up. Do we still have a breakfast program at schools?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, there's a breakfast and a lunch program at schools, and there's also a breakfast and lunch program in the city during the summer.
This one's directed towards me. And who paid for your child care as a comrade? I was lucky enough to have fantastic relatives and friends of the family that came to the house every day and watched my kids. for free.
It's also one of the best investments
But
you can
that
make.
network is
Government.
is gone.
Right.
But yesteryear, your grandmother would come in, your mother would come in.
And we were.
Yeah, that's
I
who
was
watched me.
lucky.
My great grandmother watched me.
I was lucky.
Times have changed.
My mother never worked a day in her life. She stayed home, was a housewife, and that's what she wanted to do. She raised the kids. My father was a hard-working truck driver, always had a job, but it's a
And we
different
You
age,
get
different
the
time.
highest.
You're
I've
the same thing. Work hard. You just.
And we could buy a house for 80 grand or under.
two comments.
I remember, Bob, yeah, my first mortgage was $754 per month.
It's 300
$754 per month for a
been at
mortgage
my house
on
in
a
Traeger.
beautiful house in the Highlands.
My house in Traeger, I paid $64,500. Somebody told me it's worth almost $500,000 now.
I paid
can't believe it.
I paid $350,000. My wife and I paid $350,000 to live on the third floor of a building downtown, and I'm happy we did it. It was the most affordable thing that we could do. It was under. We live below our means, whatever, but. 350 grand and we're on the third
And you
floor of a
like
building with no yard. I like it, but
Yeah.
we're on the third floor of a building with no yard.
Mr. Bomo, well, now we do it with no parking. Mr. Bomo,
Elevator.
The only way
this is
Greater-
from the mayor.
The only way Greater Lowell can take in more students is build more buildings. Remember, when you add students, you need to double the square footage. One side for classrooms, and the other side would need to increase shop space.
And the state says that we're built essentially on swampland at Greater Lowell Tech.
Well, who says you have to build on that piece of property?
Yeah, take Vesper.
Why don't you have freshmen for the school? Why don't you have freshmen for the school
There.
on a different site?
You know it's tough. You know well because then they make it a busing issue, John. The conversation has taken
You got
place.
buses, baby.
I have had that conversation.
First stop freshman, second stop senior.
Busing issue is a major issue. It's a liability issue. We still need buildings and such, but
Well,
it's not out of the realm. It's
Well, let
something
me ask
that
you
we
this,
need to
Freddie. You're a
constantly
good
take a look
study.
at.
You're a good study for school department stuff. I got to ask you this: that, the superintendent, when he comes in, he says, "Well, there's a bubble of kids come." Now, what they mean by a bubble is a huge population of kids coming into. Where is the bubble now of a gigantic population of kids coming, and how are we going to accommodate them?
John,
what grade is the bubble in?
I'm not sure where the bubble is. I don't know. I don't know if it's the fourth grade or the fifth grade. Let's be real. People like Sean, that age category, truthfully aren't having a lot of kids these days. You visit them. They have dogs, they have cats, but they don't have a lot of kids. I don't know if there's a bubble. Maybe there is in Lowell because people are moving into the city, but I don't know that people are having more children at the 30-something. I have 4 children. God, everywhere from 24 to 32 years old, and
Well,
none
there are
of them
those
have
surprises
children.
that come along.
Well, that happens too. But again,
COVID got is gonna. There was an
Yeah.
influx of kindergartners.
3 sons. I had
okay,
two-
good. You
There
know
was.
that.
There will because I spent 1 year of my professional life teaching kindergarten, and I will never do it again. But that was that was the conversation when I was teaching kindergarten was okay. There were a bunch of kids that came out of the pandemic. It's 2026, 2020. People were spending a lot more time at home, and we had some
Hey,
accidental kids.
I'm going to slide this in before the break. This is from Jay.
I
A
love
genius move, a good spot for a vocational school at Colley Stadium.
I like that
Good job,
idea.
Jay.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So we're going to go off to break land. We're going to be back. Thanks. You guys can get up and get your coffee, stretch your legs, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break. I'm having Oreo, and I'm having a refill.
To the May 5th edition of the City Life. I was going to say Dawn Patrol again. And with us this morning is School Committee member and Regional School Committee member Fred Bahou, City Councilor and future Mayor Sean McDonough, maybe future City Councilor Cisco Kid, as we call him. Oh,
I do like Sean as a city manager.
Yes.
He's talking about the right stuff.
and my good friend Bob Hoey, former school committee member. And we have a good crew here this morning. I had a lively first hour.
How about you, Tom?
Let's keep it
You
going.
could be a future selectman and
No,
Drake
not
at
happening.
28%.
Not happening, yeah. Seven,
You got
yeah.
it. Your
And let's
friends
just
are
talk
8
about that.
Your friends in Drake are 8%.
11
You could get elected overnight.
11,000 voters, 7.9% of the people voted on Saturday. Horrible.
And what is up with that? Why do you feel? Because
And
you
we
vote on Saturday, so you made it
That
where
was the-
everybody's
everybody-
home.
That's high. That's much higher than Lowell.
It's
That's what I keep
everybody,
saying.
Warren Shaw, my good friend, has suggested one time to having a national election day. In other words, the first Tuesday of every year, everybody, the selectmen, town, you might get more people.
No audit, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, well, I said that, Fred, I was telling the story that a friend of mine talked to me last week, and they said they weren't voting in the Drake election. They'll never vote again. They've always voted because of the audit. People, they're fighting it. This poor girl, Zoglia, was fighting it tooth and nail, and she can't win it, seems. But now it's going to the Supreme Judicial Court, so we'll see what happens.
And people are fed up with politics. Let's
Oh, yeah.
be real. And I've heard that many times when I'm campaigning. They're like, oh, you're a politician. I'm like, listen, I'm not a politician. I'm a guy that ran a convenience store that's just trying to help kids. But ultimately, Cisco, you ran.
Yeah,
And
no.
they're like, oh, you're politics. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
totally
exactly.
uninterested in what you have to say. So people are really fed up with
right.
politics. Never mind what's happening, in the national level, because everybody's fighting each other. The infighting is constant, and people are more about zen. And I want to be more relaxed.
Yeah.
I need to go ahead and find my peace about myself, and they don't want the fights.
No, yeah, but
So
yeah.
that's a part of it. But the 7.9 or 8%, whatever voter rate. In towns like Drake, which, Drake's always been a very involved town.
Oh, yeah.
They love their politics in Drake. They're always, the selectmen has always been a very important seat.
Not
State
anymore.
rep seats are always important. When's the last time Colleen Gary had any, opposition?
Her election, the year she won, then she had a couple of Kathy Richardson ran, but she's there for life. She wants to be there for life. And from every indication I'm getting, she's there for life. There was talk she was going to get be the chief clerk at the Lowell District Court. Doesn't want it. She told me, I love my job. I will be here
Was that
until she dies, I guess. I don't know.
Marty Walsh came for the
Sorry, I
for
missed
the
that. Yeah.
lecture series, and somebody had asked the question. I don't remember who asked, but they asked him, what was the best job? You've done all these things. Now you're the NHL player,
Right.
National Hockey League Player Association. It's got to be one of the best jobs in labor. There's no way it isn't. They say, what's you've been a Secretary of Labor, Players Union. What's the best job you had? He said, being a state rep. He said it's close to being mayor of Boston, but being a state rep is, it's it's a full-time job, so you get paid. It's what I like about being. It's not a full-time job. City councilor, not a full-time job. But his reasoning was, I think, similar to what most people on the council, I think most of the state reps, I think, would say, which is you're really close to like normal people. You're the lowest level of politician. Like, you have to say you're a politician because you're in elected office, but the people you interact with the most are normal, everyday people who live in your community. It's not. He said, like, once you get to the national level or even like a bigger office in the state, you don't really see normal people anymore. You see other higher level people, and they sell you.
Yes,
Yeah.
in the field.
And it's funny, you see the state reps, Eddie LaLasher, Dave Nangle, all these, they were there for life. And now you see these, like Rodney, there'd be a reason Rodney didn't want to run again. 2 terms, good state rep. But he probably had it. He's probably had it. And just you can only do so much when you got family and you got grandchildren, you got this, that, and other
And
things.
what did he give, 30 years of his life,
Yeah,
I believe?
30 years of his life,
Yeah.
city council, mayor, and state rep. So,
We got some really good state reps running this
oh
time.
yeah,
But on
Harry
the-
Chow, you got
I think Robinson.
yeah,
will be-
another one.
Yeah, he'll be good.
On the audit for the. There's no texter here because he's not reading, so I can say this quick. On the audit, I think if the state of Massachusetts, if you're really frustrated at home, and we're just not there yet. I think people are frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm sure Freddie. Everyone's frustrated. However, I think a lesson that can be learned from national politics is you got to get into the primaries. You go and you find your problem and you primary them. So, and I'm not saying this, but so. Some of the more left-wing Democrats, and the Republicans do this too, but some of the more left-wing Democrats had a problem with some senior Democrat leadership in the House of Representatives. So what did they do? They found candidates in the home districts, they got rid of them. Because that's the easy. They were never going to replace them with a Republican. You're not going to replace a Democrat in New York City with a Republican. So they said, we have a problem. So what did they do? They went to New York, they went to the congressional district, and they beat the guy in a primary. And they've done this a few places. So you want the audit, your best bet's to go to Quincy.
The problem with
Your best bet, if you have a problem with the way leadership is in the state house, is you got to find someone in Quincy. You're not. This is not. You got to go where the easiest win is. And if you think going to the Supreme Judicial Court and doing this big state fight is the easy way, I mean, good luck to you. It doesn't look like it's working. If you want to make progress, I think if DeSoglio really wants the audit and not just kind of the
She
the
doesn't. She
name
doesn't
rec.
want a fluffy audit. She
Right.
actually wants to go in, and she's been
Correct.
fighting this from the beginning.
For
And let's be
forever.
real. How many times did they say they're going to run a state auditor against her? And how many people are running against Diana DeSoglio?
Unopposed.
0.
No
Yeah,
Republicans.
zero.
So they couldn't find a soul, Republican
And she-
or Democrat.
And
They
she-
couldn't
and
find
it-
a soul
and
to
what
run against her.
my question to the state reps,
But I'm
what do you
thinking
got to
running
hide?
against-
What do you got to hide?
I like that idea.
Yeah, but
I
you got to
really-
admit right now, this seems to be the year of fraud. Look at like Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez.
Look at California, right?
So
They
that's-
haven't even gotten to Massachusetts yet.
Yeah.
You think there's any fraud in this state?
No.
No, no.
It's going to be across the country, I believe.
So going back to the state reps seat, Bobby, I think Corey has a great shot at winning. I think
Yeah, I
Sakari has a
think
good
so.
shot at winning.
I think so.
So you could have 3 new
The
state
other
reps.
race
What
is
about Vanna?
Well, you got. Now I was told.
Well, I'm gonna wait for the primary.
Gonna win.
yeah, well,
Freddie was
There's no
not.
primary.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, she's gonna win.
There's no primary. They're
Yeah.
all in it for the end.
you know who I like that kid?
Joe was standing at the polls. I
Joe,
understand. Joe
that's
was,
who I
was
like.
standing at the polls on
But
Saturday. My
he's
son told
going
me.
to have a hard time running as an independent.
Yeah.
He's just going to have a hard time.
I think it's Sean's turn to read these.
Yeah.
Out loud.
Oh, me. Okay. If we put new windows in all the schools in Lowell, we will probably save a bundle on heating costs. Do we know of any good window salesmen? Bart. Watching sports and movies used to take us away from politics. Now these entertainers think we care about what they think. Just shut up and entertain. That's what you're being paid to do. Someone should let Dylan and Springsteen know about that. Great first hour. To the panel. What's on the menu for Mother's Day? Jay, home run, Mr. Bahou. The public is watching our money being spent on newcomers' government projects that are not being cared for and salary increases for politicians.
Okay, not sure what I did, but thank you very
I don't know
much.
what you did.
Thank you very much.
I agree. Good job.
Texter. If you would pat me on the back, I would really
Committee
appreciate that.
Yahoo!
I can
You
only,
missed a good opportunity for the Yahoo.
Time, guys.
I can only speak about the windows for a minute. If you put new windows, all new windows, if they can open, they'll leave them wide open all winter long. And the heat goes right out the window. I mean, John, you were in the...
Sean's an advocate of windows
Oh, he
that
knows,
open.
he knows. They kept the windows open.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you wonder why your heating bill is...
How about talking about
Well,
heat?
we have a heating issue in these
My
schools,
heat-
right?
Right.
That's the problem. Like
The-
the STEM, you're right. I was in February, and they had the windows open, and in February it was less than 10 degrees outside. I'm like, why do you
Yeah,
keep the
it's
windows
crazy.
open? They're like, the heat's not what
Right.
should I say, balanced throughout this building, right across the street. So it's a constant.
Right, you have
issue.
some rooms that wind up being basically the furnace. You could go in there in a swimsuit in February because it's 110. You bring a bucket of water in, get some steam, clear out the sinuses. The room next door is freezing cold. So that's
But this is what you're talking about when tax dollars weren't being spent wisely 20 years ago.
Yes.
Because this is what they needed to work on,
Yes.
these buildings and, how they weren't operating efficiently. And finally, they're doing something about it.
Right, but the
Finally,
ma-
we're getting the windows.
the
Finally,
ma-
we're getting the solar panels.
Fred, the
roofs.
mayor and Corey Robinson, those two probably were the strongest advocates for getting together with the city and form some type of maintenance to maintain our 29 schools, and I don't know how many public buildings we have, and it's just, I don't think it went anywhere.
Well, they brought it to the forefront.
They did.
And all of a
I'm-
sudden,
And I
Who's
only,
the they, Fred?
Corey
Corey and Eric.
Robinson, Eric Gitchier, they
Yeah.
brought it to the forefront. Building maintenance. They
They-
did bring it to the forefront.
they sure did, and I think I heard the schools and the city council talk about that Jerry Nutter issue.
Bobby, drag that mic to you.
Maintenance of effort. How much work was done on the maintenance of effort?
Well, the maintenance of effort,
Well,
unfortunately.
let's define maintenance of effort for the dummies out there like me. What is maintenance
Well,
of effort?
The way I look at maintenance of effort is, it's what the city charges the schools for our students to be in those buildings. It's almost like we pay rent, which is around $40 to $50 million if you look at the whole issue.
Yes, it's over $50 million.
Yeah,
It's
but-
the snow plowing, right? It's the going ahead and replacing of the ceiling tiles. It's doing the electrical work in the buildings. It's painting on the interior of the buildings. It's the detailed officers as well as the crossing
Sure.
guards. But realistically, I don't know that we truly see hard numbers on how they get to that $50 million level.
Some of the numbers are pretty fluffy.
That's correct. It's sort of skewed. So with that being the case, here's what the city does. They say, listen, we're going to give you X amount. We know the state says we need to give you 70 million, and they back into the number.
Yeah.
We spent $58 million on maintenance of effort. We're going to give you 12 million.
Freddie, completely off topic. How is the VOC and the city doing on personal finance teaching?
Unfortunately, not good enough.
Piss
The
poor
voc-
job?
The VOC does things in the freshman year, and they sort of prepare kids. But I know kids in their freshman year, they're just sort of excited to be at the VOC, and they're excited to do all their exploratories and such like that. And in Lowell, they say they're doing stuff, and I have, I did put in a motion for personal finance, and last year they said they were going to implement it. And this year, we had a conversation at the school committee table, and I said, has that been implemented? I didn't hear much. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have another a subcommittee meeting to go ahead and discuss how we're implementing personal finance.
See, I talked to
The state
you-
wants to implement personal finance in the curriculum across the state, but ultimately, they haven't sort of
I don't
gotten
care
there
about, I
yet.
only care about
Lowell,
this region. I only
Massachusetts,
care
and-
about
right.
Tewksbury to Tingsboro. That's all I care. Teach personal. Now, let me ask you.
And I get it.
Your colleague, Sean. Sean, this is a perfect example of why unexecuted motions have to stay on the agenda. As soon as they're not on the agenda, superintendent doesn't care anymore, neither does the manager.
So what I think that the school department and the school committee does really well, and I think that the city side could really learn from on your unexecuted motions piece, is I've seen a couple times a year, the superintendent, I don't know how often, I haven't asked actually Fred how often he comes with his binder, but I've seen the superintendent shows up with this. He had a binder at the beginning before the budget season this year, and it was every motion that had been filed, and they go through the whole thing. And I don't know how many times a year you guys go through that, but it was, okay, so, motion, read it, this was from Mr. Bahou, first response was
your
on this
response,
day,
yep.
Mr. Bahou was unsatisfied, this was the day of the second response, can we close this out or do we need to keep going? And he did that with every single motion that had still not been satisfied, that hadn't been, coded green, as in, they gave the response, and, whatever member or the school committee, if they didn't say they were satisfied with the response, it stays in his working.
Why are we keeping
folder.
this from the public? Why
And he
should
does
you?
that- and he
Why
does
should
that
you
about
fight
every 10
over?
weeks.
Every 10 weeks, so it is public.
About
That's
5
what it
times a
is.
year, yes, about every 10 weeks, and then he has a list of all the motions, and he submits it to us.
Yeah.
Okay, this was Bahou's motion, this was Del Rossi's motion, this was McFadden's motion, this was Lay's motion, and so on and so forth. And he says, was it addressed? And then he says, the response happened on
So
this
Sean,
particular
what are we
day.
doing on the great Tommy Golden side of the event?
So this is
a
I
great
actually
idea.
that's
Yes.
it's what I
Very good
want.
about that.
So that's what I want. I did get the response. I know you had given me some crap for not demanding it immediately.
Well,
but
I mean, that's
I
what
did
I'm supposed to do.
did get the response with the list of motions. I wasn't. It was okay. What I want is what the school department does. Personally, I think that this budget is going to be awful, and so rather than kind of starting a fight on a second front on this kind of long-standing administrative task that I do think needs to be done, where we should be going every 10 weeks, I personally said, well, I'm going to just put some of my bigger requests on the back burner until May 12th
Well,
when
then
the budget
then-
comes
then-
out and everyone gets a chance to
Then
look at it.
have the guts to make a motion. Any motion that precedes 2026, I make a motion they all be extinguished. See what happens then.
No, I want the buy. I want the every 10 week or quarterly. You let the council hammer that one out. But I think 10 weeks, quarterly, whatever it is, we should be getting exactly what the school side is doing, which is the whole list comes back out. They're all on the agenda again. We can talk about them again. It's a phenomenal idea. It's open to the public. The public can see it. They could register to comment
So
if they want
in
to speak.
government-
They could.
In government, we call it a living, breathing document.
Yes.
Right, and that's essentially what you're asking
So I'm
for.
gonna keep
Something
bringing
that's
it up.
always alive and something that's always
Either
being brought to the fore.
when I saw
I'm
when
going
I
to
saw
go
the
back over to
superintendent
Mr.
come up with that,
Bomil,
awesome.
because he's the host today, but I'll lay off on the, I'm glad you're doing what you can on both of these issues. Freddie, on the personal finance, that's excellent, thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Back to Tommy.
Sure. So we were talking earlier about Drake and
Yeah.
how and our town manager, and now it's one of those situations where you're damned if you're doing, damned if you do. I understand she has a 3-year contract. She's refused to take a pay raise this year. And now people are saying, in other words, she's doing it, but she'll get it some way, somehow. She's not. She's not taking a pay raise. And I don't know what the pay raise, how much it was going to be, but she's making $220 a year. Her own vehicle, they pay for her mileage, I guess. That's how.
Well,
it
God
usually
bless
works.
her. God bless her.
Yeah.
But she says she's not going to take her 3% or the
But
$6,000. That's God bless her.
People are saying like negative things about it. Well, she's going to get it somehow. They'll make up for it next time. She's not taking it this year because of the problems we're having out in Drake. And it's one of those things.
And this is what gives people a bad taste about politics.
Yeah.
When they say, hey, listen, I would think of this as a good thing, and then I don't want to say bad things about the person. It's not. Look at Eric. Eric doesn't take any beat of his salary,
Yeah.
and he's even the mayor now. He's even qualified to get even an extra $10,000.
He should be.
But he chooses not to. And at the end of the day, you can bash Eric all you want, but he chooses not to do this. And people don't ever say,
Well, I thought he
that's a good thing that he doesn't do
couldn't
that.
take it either. I thought was there
Well,
like
It's
Sean couldn't
confusing.
take it.
It's confusing. They say he can't take it. I think if you wanted to push, I think it's an open question because you can work for a charter school. So this has happened in the city of Lowell. We had a school committee member who also worked for a charter school, and they were able to get paid because the charter school, even though we pay the reimbursement, and so I guess the argument, I'm not a lawyer, but the argument is that because the city of Lowell pays the vocational schools
And the charter school.
and the charter school,
And the charter school.
but it's a state reimbursed. This was the thing. It's a state reimbursement on the charter school. So we pay the state. It's a state charter. Blah blah blah. But we directly give money to the Volks Club. I truly don't understand it. I feel like if you had a lawyer and really wanted to push it, you could probably
I'm
make
sure
a
if
compelling
Eric
case.
pursued it, he might.
Yeah, I think you
have
could make a
chance
compelling case.
at getting
But he doesn't want it, so
Yes.
good for him.
Like Sean,
Yeah,
not
that's all I
Sean,
was trying to say.
John has brought up, if some city council just brought in a motion, Mr. Manager, find a way to get.
They did.
these-
Councilor Robinson put that motion on,
To get the pay, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
But
Is
anyway,
that still sitting in limbo, or is it,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
obviously.
Yeah.
but I mean, Drake, needs to progress. And
Yeah.
I don't know, how well the school district's doing in Drake. As far as I'm
yeah.
concerned, you've had a guy at the helm for close to 10 years now.
Yeah.
And, the image of, DPS is
Yeah.
not realistically a strong one.
No.
So, that, and why, that conversation doesn't happen, I'm not entirely sure. Because I really believe every city is defined by their school
Well, we have a
district.
new school committee member now that's a little more independent, like Sean is on the council, and we think there's two, her and Rebecca Duda. Rebecca John, she's part of the Monday night dinner club. She is independent too. So now they got two. You need one more, because it seems the other three is like almost 3-2 vote. It was a 4-1 vote, now it's gonna be 3-2.
Okay,
vote,
well,
so.
3-2 is a conversation.
But I think the
with other
superintendent, I
members.
don't know how many years, he must be close to retirement, because Steve's been out there a long time. He started out with special education, and he's been the superintendent. I always got along with him as the health director, but I hear he's not sometimes a pleasant person to work with, but I always got along with him, so.
Most people at that level aren't that pleasant.
Yeah.
I've been
That's not a knock.
I've been watching the school committee, the budget meetings, and my friend Fred Bahou, which I'm a big supporter of, he gave it pretty hard to the superintendent about technology. It almost looked like they were beefing to me on TV, Fred. But I liked the way you stood up to the superintendent, and I'm a big fan of the superintendents too, but
And this wasn't about the superintendent. Ultimately, we're laying off teachers. We're laying off art directors. We're laying off music teachers. We're laying off kindergarten teachers, first grade teachers. We're laying off some real front-facing teachers to students. And ultimately, we have increased our technology from $2.6 million in 2025 to $4.3 million in 2026, which is a very hefty number. And then I looked at the warrants, and a lot of it wasn't spent, and they asked for the same amount, if not more, for the next year. So why would I be laying off teachers when the money's not being spent in the technology department? Because and just go ahead and earmark the same amount of money for that. So it needed to be discussed. It really did, and they know how I feel. And let's be real: does technology work? In the classroom as much as we want it to. I've got this phone in my pocket. This is technology all day long. Kids have phones an awful lot of time. The kids are having a hard time conversing in the classroom. You go into the room, Sean, and this workbook that we give them is open a lot of the class day, and the kids aren't associating with each other. They're having social anxiety, and we're investing an awful lot of money in it. Never mind these things being dropped because I didn't pay for it. And, then the school system has to supply a new one or spend money to go ahead and fix the one that we gave. So ultimately, we need to look at what technology works, what technology doesn't work. And if we're going to increase it by 35 to 40%, then we need to go ahead and say, has the money been spent on that increase from last year? And it wasn't. And luckily, I was able to see that, and we could put more teachers in the classroom. And that was ultimately the final goal.
and I thought you did a great job. Last thing, Tom,
No, good.
when you mentioned warrants, they still sign them at the school committee meeting. Some people, like myself, I need to read something twice, but here they are passing me a warrant during the school committee to sign it. And that, you're spending money as you're signing that, and most of the time, I believe, not all school committee people are reading those warrants.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're
that
right.
has to
At
be
Greater
changed.
Lowell Tech,
Hey, I'm gonna
and I
barge in
will.
here for a minute, boys. I gotta do these announcements. Got some parties coming up this week. So Anthony Late, he's running for state rep, 17th Middlesex District. He's having a party this week over to, actually, it's
Caballero.
Wednesday.
Is this the fireman?
Tomorrow. Yeah, Anthony Lee.
Is this the fireman?
Yeah.
It is, okay.
Yeah. And he's having a party over at Cavalieros, 5:30 tomorrow night.
got
Be
good
there or be
meatballs.
square.
They got good meatballs there.
It's always good. Those guys know what they're doing over there. Next is Corey Robinson. He's having a party. Shrink it up so you can
It's
see the
this
whole
Thursday,
thing.
right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's Thursday. So late is tomorrow. Looks like Robinson is the day after tomorrow, Thursday.
Yes.
I seen him out campaigning on
So
Sunday.
he's having a party for Corey,
guys gonna get
hosted
in
by
trouble.
Monterey. Together we make a difference for state rep, and he's having a party fundraiser over at the East End Club, 12 West Fifth. 12. Sorry, my tongue's getting stuck.
12 West Fifth
12
Street.
West Fifth Street, and be there or be square. And what time is the thing? 5 to 9 p.m. That's this Thursday, May 7th. Finally, we got the thing working again so I can show these things. Every senior center has lunch. The suburban Tewksbury, Chelmsford, Tingsboro does not have lunch. You have to make a reservation. Drake, you have to make a reservation if you're going to eat lunch. They have a lunch every day, but it's only by reservation. But today is May 5th, so if you go over to Lowell Senior Center, they're having pulled pork for lunch. So you can enjoy it. It starts around 10:30. Head over there and you can have a nice lunch. Coming up in June is the Holy Trinity Greek Festival. We'll talk about more of that as we get closer to June. And St. William's Parish Picnic, that's coming up June 14th. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to June. Back over to you, Tommy. Thank you.
Okay. So, and we're going back to Drake, and it seems like sounds like you challenged the superintendent on something. He probably wasn't happy with it. And I see that in Drake a lot. Like Stone gets challenged on things. He doesn't like that's what the school committee's there for, to challenge him, to question him. They have a right to question him. And that's what Distillion and Rebecca Duda do, and he doesn't like that, and
No. Well,
and-
superintendents don't like that.
Right,
They don't like
right.
it.
Right, they feel like they're the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
The reform in 1993 made them the person in charge.
Right,
But
right.
ultimately, we're the oversight committee. We don't get paid a lot. What does a Drake, school committee person get? I don't know.
Yeah, but
Right, it's zero. It's zero.
$2,000.
Okay,
It's school
and a Great
committee.
Lowell Tech School Committee member gets zero.
Zero,
But
yeah.
ultimately, your job is to oversee
Yeah.
the warrants, the superintendent, the policy, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
After
And just to
ta-
touch on what you said, Bobby,
After taxes, you get about $209 a week in Lowell.
Okay.
That's enough gas for a week.
Yeah, it's still.
No, it's 12 grand a year, but you gotta
For a
pay.
day.
Funniest story in the world. Last Friday, I'm driving down Lakeview Avenue, the gas station across from the high school. Okay,
Yeah, the
in
cheap
Drake.
one, yeah.
I'm going down to St. Margaritaville Church for 7:30 Mass. Gas was $4.04 a gallon. Get out of my car after Mass, 10 cents it jumped in an hour. I was $4.14, my God. And I was going to stop and get gas, and I'll get it after church.
church, there you go. The Lord said you might have to pay a little bit more.
no
But
gas.
imagine how fast I am reading it's going to subside. It's
I'm
gonna
glad the
subside.
priest realized to get the money before the price went up.
Did you see
Put money in
the,
the basket,
did
please.
you see the price of gas in Cuba? $40 a gallon.
Run away, really?
$40.
Yes, yes.
$40 a gallon, yeah.
I think it's going to subside. That's what I'm reading at least.
It's $6 in Chicago this morning.
Wow.
But yet I hear our great president say we have more oil than anybody. China's buying our oil, Russia's buying our oil.
Why can't we buy it cheap?
Well, if we have that much oil, why is our prices
I
going
think it's
up?
Mr. Balmo's turn to read this.
Our
need a
town
bookmark.
manager is being vilified for cutting a budget that she came into. She doesn't
I
deserve the
see
criticism. Absolutely, I agree with you, Jay. The schools in the state think they don't have to cut and only care about more funding. Dr. Duda is a blessing to Drake. Absolutely, Jay. She's a great person. But the administration cost has risen in the school district department spending from you to the panel. Jay, I applaud Mayor Gitchia for shutting down a lady who wouldn't give her name for the record during the last meeting.
She gave her name, she wouldn't give her address.
Oh, okay.
One more to go.
One more. Okay, personal finance classes will not prevent government from overspending. You must spend every penny plus some in your government budget, or you will not get the dollars next year. You get penalized for saving at the government level.
That's why, Bart, though, that's why I'm really glad that the when he was a counselor, but now Mayor Gettier, Councilor Robinson, a couple other councilors had pushed to get the munis reports online, because what you can do on your to your comment about spending all the money at the end of the year to make sure you spend it all so you can get funded again next year. When you look at the munis spending, you can see when that money was spent, so you can start to take a stab at, hey, it looks like you said, oh no, we have a little bit of money left, we should set this on fire so we get it again next year.
Sure.
One more, Tommy.
If we had an honest media in this state, then maybe we could find out why they are fighting the audit. Jay? Yeah.
At least in this state, you can get Mass Health. They can get dentures faster than I can.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
And I have 2 different insurances.
Yeah.
And it's terrible how we're treated,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
You're better off being totally broke.
Oh, yeah.
If I could, just while school committee Bahou is here, I think, and I've heard other people say this at school committee meetings, the technology cut was great. I think we could do more.
There was more available.
There's more available.
But I
cut.
chose to just
Yeah.
back off. We implemented some jobs back that were, a student facing.
Yes.
And I was comfortable with that. And they know that I'm watching it. We're going to have a technology subcommittee meeting. We're going to sort of begin to identify where we're spending money. Do we need the 1-to-1 ratio?
what I was gonna-
Can we use Chrome carts? And that's only a portion of it, because we're
Right.
spending $200,000 on Chromebooks this year in Lowell Public Schools, and I'm sorry, closer to $300,000. But we're also spending $290,000 on teachers, computers.
Right.
So and then we're earmarking $300,000 each year for a teacher's computer. So we need to identify how much we're spending, why we're spending so much, and if it's absolutely necessary to buy the very best computers for the teachers as well.
So one of the problems, hold on. One of the problems, sure.
And you're a teacher, and I get it.
Well, we went to, they're going off, I never understood why they had, I liked
MacBooks.
having a MacBook, but I didn't really understand why that was necessary. They're going to Chromebooks now. Everyone hates them, but it is, they'll get used to it. You're going from a really nice computer to a Chromebook. So
Why?
Believe it or
Why?
not, it's not as good.
Don't we want the best for Lowell? Why?
No, you have to, because
We almost have Cadillac police cruisers.
I want what is able to do the function, and I think a MacBook is not really necessary for what the function of a teacher. Like, I don't need a MacBook to update grades and write reports.
MacBook's-
I agree with
That's
you.
not really
My
in the-
MacBook is 12 years old. 12 years old.
The issue.
They last and last and last.
The issue beyond the hardware is, for me personally, so as a teacher who hates computers, and a lot of my colleagues, especially younger teachers, hate the computers in the classroom because you can't compete with a computer. You can't. You were never going to be more entertaining than a kid's favorite YouTube video. So imagine if when you were in school, you had a television in your pocket, and you could put whatever you wanted to watch on right away in the middle of class. I just throw it on the worksheet. Oh, I'm doing the worksheet while I'm doing the worksheet, because if you're doing it on the computer, you know what I want? I want to watch my favorite TV show.
Sure.
Of course you do. You're a kid.
Yeah.
You're 11 years old. You're 12. You're 13, 14 years old.
I would do it in a minute.
I would do it. I'm 30. I would do it. With if I had the option. Why not? No impulse control. Boom, let's go. So I as an adult know to not give myself the option to miss out on the impulse control, and I can put my own blocks in place. But the other driver of costs, and you talked about this at the school committee meeting, but you didn't go into specific, and I don't know what the specific cost is, but is the software and the applications that are necessary because of the one-to-one tech to be able to monitor all of that one-to-one tech to try and keep the kids off of watching their favorite TV shows and whatever. Like, that stuff's not free either, because circulating the room doesn't work when it's click, gone. I was doing my work the whole time, Teach. What are you mad at? There's no proof, which is where things like
And it's proven, ultimately,
Yes.
that if you're teaching in the classroom the old way, with what some people scoff at is pen and paper,
better.
then that is more effective than it is being on technology. And my kid, who works for technology over at MIT, he says, Dad, there's studies out there that says that kids can't concentrate when they're on the computers as much as when they're using pen and paper. They retain an awful lot more. He told me that, and he's a techie. He's a techie.
And there are things that you develop working on paper that you don't develop working. And so the balance, we've swung too far the wrong way, because
because of ESSER money. ESSER money was
Yeah.
thrown at us, and every school district said, let's go ahead and give every kid a workbook.
Well, and
That's what going
and
to
people
work.
were at home at one
Yeah,
point,
okay,
right?
yes,
So, okay,
yes, but
I
then-
got, did the kindergartner ever need the computer? I guess if they had to be at home, they did. Now they're going to school. Do they still need the computer? I would say no. Absolutely no reason.
No.
I don't think K through 4, I don't think they should have one. I really don't.
No, I agree.
And when kids get to me, and I get that the kinds of students that I teach are not gen ed students. They have lots of things going on. But even in after school programs with gen ed kids, whatever, the motor skill development is atrocious right now. Even with general education kids, the fine motor skills, and my handwriting is garbage. But using scissors, like cutting and writing in basic drawing and stuff, which no one thinks of as like,
Yeah.
the skill you learn in school. But when I was going to school, when you guys were all going to school, you spent a lot of time with a pencil or a pen in your hand or scissors in your hand or doing all these things in actually developing the fine motor skill. These kids don't have it.
I applaud.
And it's expensive for
Okay,
them to
hold
not have
the
it.
horses here. Tommy, you want to read these?
Maybe if parents made their kiddos pay for their own cell phone, then the cell phone situation might change. I blame the parents for the cell phone problem. They're probably right.
Keep going.
Oh boy. To be fair, that lady that did not give her address at the city council meeting, I believe, is a domestic abuse survivor. Huh? Domestic abuse survivors can avoid disclosing their actual residential address at municipal meetings by participating in an address confidentiality program.
Yes.
She needs to do that at the clerk's office before she
Surprisingly,
speaks.
weed is cheap in the state. The only thing that has not gone up, full disclosure, I've consumed a brownie or two.
That's good.
Cost of a round of golf nowadays, Cisco, $280.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. But I want to go back to applauding the counselor and Freddie, the school committee, Bahou. You guys are on point in regards to technology. Just look at today. We can't have kids sign contracts or their checks because they're not taught how to use a pencil anymore. And you guys are on point, and I applaud you for that. Continue that, because you definitely are on the right track with education and where we're at in this country right now with our young kids. And we definitely have to change things to make things better, in my opinion.
Thank you.
So,
Again,
thank you, and don't change that.
And this was not a challenge to the superintendent. This was something that had to be raised in
Well,
conversation.
they're talking about
And
it
whether-
nationally.
and
They're
if-
saying
and if it has to-
technology is hurting your kids nationally
And if it
right
has to
now.
be on the school committee floor, that's where we're going to have it.
Sure, sure.
And I think that's the best place to have it.
Well, and I think,
And I am an advocate of the current superintendent. However,
everyone has issues.
Everybody needs to be challenged.
But this is the problem, and it's not just in
Including
Lowell.
me.
It's not just in Lowell. It's everywhere. That everyone thinks that everyone has like that. If you ever question or challenge or have a concern, that you're oh, that's it, it's over. Freddie had a question. Freddie got mad at the superintendent about one issue. That's it. It's still up. McDonough asked something said something about the university. He hates them. No, he doesn't.
But
That's not
I
real life.
seen many, but I seen one.
Ridiculous.
Dr. Kafawi asked one question about maintenance of effort, and then he was shipped out of Lowell about a month later.
Wow.
But you don't ask that question to the city manager. You just don't. You don't talk about it.
But so
Kill it.
But I think what people need to understand is that in Lowell, the way things done is not the way, and this has been a theme this year, the way things have always been done is not the way that things need to be done going forward. And I understand that some of the older media crowd, not this one, with blogs and podcasts, whatever, they don't like seeing public, open government have open conversations in a public meeting. That's where the conversations are supposed to be. You want to ask a question of the superintendent, and school committee member Bahou said this on the floor of the school committee. Someone said, well, why didn't you call me? You said, because we have an open government. And it was a phenomenal response. It was a phenomenal response.
Sean, yesteryear, I used to do the cameras for City Hall. I did school committee meetings. I did all kinds of good stuff. And I got to tell you that the arguments that would happen in what's called the cloakroom
Right.
were my biggest surprise. I'd be sitting in the control room for the cable thing is right off that cloakroom. So if you guys are familiar with City Hall and how it works, that cloakroom, there'd be fist fights in there.
Well, that's
Elected
beautiful,
officials
though.
having a fist fight in there.
But you have good times, John.
No, what I'm saying, Bobby, is a lot of stuff happens outside the meeting, and the thing that I think should happen is any text that you get during the meeting should be recorded someplace. These texts that go flying between city councilors, and I know what happens, go flying between school committee members, they should be recorded. You see, there's a guy on his phone playing with it, and then you see one of his colleagues look, smile, and it's back.
Well, I would tell you,
How would you control that? But
if we had a local newspaper, this has been a theme of the mayor's, but
newspapers.
my favorite joke right now is, if we had a local newspaper that was going to meetings and was actually in the room and not just going with LTC's camera angles, because you don't see a lot on the and people were making fun of me because I've been going to the budget hearings, and the reason I like going to the budget hearing is you see there's a lot that goes on in a room that you don't see on camera. This one ran over to talk to that one, and this and that, and they're way up before they.
Faces being made.
Faces being
right?
made.
People looking at each other. Raising their eyebrows.
There's a lot that goes on.
There was a guy, his name was Mark Goldman.
One of the best.
I think he's gone on to heaven. So
yeah,
Mark,
he has.
Mark would get up at the microphone. He would have probably a 2-minute to 3-minute speech. Everyone would run up to the manager's desk and talk to the manager while Mark Goldman was talking to them. And
Mark had a heart of gold. Yeah.
I was just really disappointed in the elected officials for doing such a thing. Look at the public's watching Golden. We're going to run up and talk to the manager. It's terrible, and I'm sure
Right.
it still happens even today.
I
But
talked
if you
earlier about.
put someone in the but if someone were actually in the room, right? You're not going to make it to every meeting, I guess. Fine, but if we had a local newspaper that had someone at the meeting, or local media that was actually going in person to these meetings and not watching them on 2x speed later, then there are things that you would notice, like, hey, it looks like this one looks at his phone like he's sending a text message. Pretty consistently, it's this one, and then that one smiles. Hey, what are they talking about all meeting? Now I'm a reporter, I could ask that question. I'm a city councilor, I'm not asking that question. That's not on me. That is not my question to ask. I'm not poking that bear. But you're from the newspaper, you want to ask that question? Hey, I've gone to 4 meetings and I've noticed every time this, boom, 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 what is going on here? Something is happening and I don't know what it is. Or anything else.
I talked earlier about the Drake School Committee, and right now I think it's a 3-2 block as far as. Is the new council that you're on, are the new council sticking together on votes, or are you still into a disarray type thing? Is there a block on your council?
I think-
And then the same to Freddie, I'll ask him the same thing we got in the school committee. Is there a block on the council
I think
that sticks together?
I think it's issue by issue.
Okay.
But I know who I would go to. I know who my first call is.
Okay.
Right? Like I know
Yeah,
kind of
you can,
if there's something I want to do, I kind of know what the votes without I'm not in the coat room and I'm not
Right.
trying to talk to a quorum or whatever. But I kind of know, okay, I can rely on an issue like this. I can reliably, without even talking to them, I know where these ones are going to go. I should probably, if I have to call anyone, it's, this person.
But are the new
Do one call.
councils sticking together more? Or are they still on their,
I think it's kind of reflected in the votes right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to
And
an
Freddie, what about
extent,
you?
yeah.
How's the school committee? What do you guys have a block, as they call it?
I don't want to say there's a block. I have a conversation with every single one of my fellow school committee members outside
Right.
of the meetings.
Right.
We talk about certain things, that may be beneficial to the school district. And I believe the other school committee members speak to other school
Just
committee
get along.
members. So ultimately, is there a voting block that is 100%, going to vote the exact same way every time? On this school committee, there isn't.
Okay.
So I don't see it, and
Sure.
and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we all need to evaluate every certain issue, and then truthfully come up with our own best
Mr.
choice.
Bahou,
getting
let's
back-
see how well you read these.
Oh, shoot. I was out of this. As long as the government is paying for the computers, we should get the kids gaming computers. Laugh out loud. It provides a way for survivors who have recently relocated to use a confidential address in order to protect them from those that endanger them. I have met her in person once at Market Basket. So that's back to the municipal
Yes.
person that didn't identify themselves. Great show today. Councilor McD is a true gem for the city. Keep up the good work, Big J.
Thanks, Big J.
And going,
He's a
secret
fan.
squirrel meetings.
Secret squirrel meeting should be forbidden. It looks greasy. I'm not having a meeting, but I am having a discussion.
Back over to
Thank
you, Tommy.
But going back to, you talked about the Lowell Sun. There's no newspaper in the city.
No, we have no newspaper in the city.
I mean, the reporters are horrible. I mean, I don't, sorry, but they're not like the old days. And I mean, the first page I used to open up 10 years ago, you go on Sunday morning, was the political column. It's not a political column anymore. It's BS. There's nothing
A lot
in
of
there.
press release,
And it was intriguing, a lot of the stuff, and it's not the same.
I think, and I don't want to. I don't want to assign blame to the staff. I don't think it's I think Melanie does the best with what she has. I think with Aaron Curtis, right, is crime.
Yeah,
Peter
Curtis.
Peter Courier.
Aaron Curtis is, Aaron Curtis wrote an article the other day, was in the paper that happened 2 weeks ago. I mean, that's something.
Well, but this is what happens. But we have 1.5 full-time reporters for a
The
pretty
old days,
big
yeah,
area, right?
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
when you don't have the staff, you're not really able to do it. So that's why I don't want to put too much blame on
right,
an
you're
individual reporter. I think the problem is that what we have is yesterday's Herald today.
Yeah,
That's the issue.
and you do.
That's the problem, and that's not on a reporter. That's on the ownership group.
Where I'm a Sun online person, I get to read the Herald too.
Right.
And I will read something in the Herald today. They'll be in the Sun
It is
tomorrow.
tomorrow,
Be in the
yeah.
Sun tomorrow.
But
Yeah.
it goes back to what you guys was talking about earlier. It goes back to technology. Technology has wiped out that need for reporters to show up with their pen and pad of paper.
Sure.
And take notes and
speak to
and
members
speak-
after
yeah,
the meeting, right?
exactly.
Because the good old days, I'm sure they
Yeah.
would speak to the members after the meeting. They would come up to you and interview you.
Oh,
I remember
absolutely.
the Great Lowell Tech days. when
Absolutely.
we used to have some hot times there. The newspaper reporter would come, and then they would interview a few of the school committee people after the fact. Say, what did you think about this? That had value.
Drake did not have a debate this year. Every year, the Sun would sponsor a debate for this. There hasn't been one in Drake since Chris Scott left. And there'd be a debate of the king. There was no debates this year. I mean, granted, there was 2 races, but you still should have had some.
And that's
debate.
too bad, because
Yeah.
how much is your budget,
'Cause-
right?
yeah.
People should understand, where their hopeful candidates are on certain subjects.
They'd
because
be usually one run by the PTA, the PTOs, and the Lowell Sun would sponsor a debate in Drake. No
Tommy,
more.
it's impossible to get look at the Cowardly Lion, okay? When she was running for state senate, she would not sit down for a debate. I would call her, she would ghost me, not call me back, not text me.
Yeah.
I have no use for Vanna Howard.
Well, Ed
because she
Kennedy didn't do
she's
a
a
debate
piss
with a Republican when he
poor
ran.
communicator. And so how can you have a debate? You got Sam Mace and Joe Espinola sitting here waiting to have a conversation with the Cowardly Lion, and she won't even give us a text back. I'm
Yeah,
not
but-
commenting.
Well,
But John,
there was
but-
an article in the paper this morning, just very quickly, that Seth Moulton and what's the Republican?
Markey.
No, the Republican.
Ed
Who's the
Markey.
Republican?
No.
Okay.
Have agreed to debate, and Dave Markey is an Nancy did. He's
Correct.
not going to show up. He's not going to show
But
up.
but why would you?
Yeah.
No, I'm being completely
Because he should.
He should. That's
He
why.
serves the public.
So Ed,
the right thing to
it is the right thing to do. However, when you are the presumptive, this is my read here. I would show up, but I'm a neighborhood city councilor. So what does that mean if I show up? If you're the presumptive and you have a commanding lead, if you're the Democratic nominee for a state office in Massachusetts, why you have nothing to gain and everything to lose? As far as your votes, you show up for a debate. You don't know the questions are. Are you going to pick up any votes? No, the Republicans are still going to vote for the Republican. Okay, and you have a commanding lead by having the D next to your name. And you go into a debate. Okay, you can prep all you want, but all you're trying to do at this point, I would imagine, is don't say anything wrong, because then you lose.
Correct. Tread water.
You're just going to go tread water. So,
No,
or you don't show up.
I agree
and
with
don't
you
take a
guys.
hit.
When you got 8% that is engaged, and you're the Democratic candidate, there's no need to show up
But
anymore.
if it looks like it's a closer race, if it looks like I am actually going to need to, if the other candidates have created an environment where there's work to be done, Okay. Yeah, I think you're going to get them
I'm
to show
really
up.
sure.
I think they should show up. I want to be clear.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't
Right.
go do your debates. I think they should. I'm saying I think the reason they don't is it is understandable. If you're not in a close challenge, why
It's
risk
the
it?
respect of the position. It's the
Correct.
respect of the community.
You should
it's
go.
the respect of
I'm
the
really
constituents.
You should go.
It comes with the job.
You should go. When
You should
when
go.
I ran for state rep, and I would have a debate set up with Roddy Mum, he wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
And that was really frustrating. And granted, he beat me by a very large margin, but still, it's a poor decision because ultimately you are representing the constituents in the area. And ultimately, it boded very true for what his 5 terms looked like because he wasn't getting back to his constituents for a long time, and that's how Tara Hong ended up beating him.
Nice guy.
So
Nice
you
guy.
should show up and debate. It's not
I
that
also-
hard. And tread water if you're up by 25% in the polls and talk about very simple stuff. and don't talk
Brady
about
Mum was a nice guy, but a lousy state rep.
I-
Nice
I-
guy. And I go on, Maki, I'm really surprised that Moulton he's not showing any steam against Maki. I mean, I thought for sure that he would get, it looks like Maki's going to win handily.
Handedly.
It looks that way.
So the
Yeah.
candidate you're talking about is John Deedon,
Yeah, he's the Republican
the
candidate.
Republican candidate.
I want to be clear that I do think they should go debate. I was not trying
Oh, no,
to
yeah, I know what
justify
you're
not showing up. I was trying to just.
You covered your ass 3 times.
No,
Don't worry about it.
we.
You're
I know,
good.
Jay's still gonna text in and
Yeah,
be like,
no.
"Where will McDonough be at the election? Hiding in the bunker?" No,
That's
I won't.
right.
I
That's
will
why.
always show up
That's
for a
why.
debate.
That's why he said about Vanna Howard. I not
But-
show up.
Well,
I
because,
think-
because the other thing that to put an even tougher point on this, even if you're up-handedly, why do I think you should go debate? It's the same reason that I go on not that I like this show, on some of the shows where I might not, enjoy them as much.
That morning show?
It's not just debating your opponent. It's another opportunity, 1, to get your message out to the public. 2,
Tommy, would you give
Get another vote.
Sean that extra mic?
2,
That's good. Leave it on its side. That's good, thanks. That's
2,
the dead battery.
it's an opportunity that
Good.
it's an opportunity to actually advocate for what you want to do and increase public support for a given agenda item. If there's
Yeah.
something you really want to do, I would think you want every opportunity you can get to go in front of people and sell your idea, whether it's going to help you win a particular election or it's just going to build support behind an issue you care about. To me, that's the whole job.
Well, John made a point about Vanna Howard, and
Thank you.
when Rodney and her were in a debate on WCAP, it was brought to my attention. Rita Mercier told me that both the radio station owner and the person that was running the debate gave money to Vanna Howard. Right, I'm sure the questions were aimed for Vanna's advantage. And Rita Mercier told me
I
that
heard
story.
the same thing.
Yeah. That the station owner and the person, I think his name's Shanker, donated money, were big donations.
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 Well, don't think for 1 second when you have a radio interview. Okay, when Sean McDonough comes in, you think I'm going to beat him up? No.
You can beat me up.
You beat everybody up, but no, you do. What are you talking?
He doesn't.
Rita
He
Mercy
could.
comes in here, I'm not beating her up.
You can.
They're family.
Eileen Dunn comes in here, I'm not beating her up.
John, you ask tough questions. I think you do.
It's just,
I think you do a good job, producer. You just got to cut some of those texts out.
No,
you don't need
keep
to
'em
read
coming.
all of them.
Keep them
We
coming.
gotta get Bart on the show.
Yeah, the
Jay on
Bart.
show.
Yeah, Bart. Bring Bart in.
No, I think though. I think people take things too. I do. I think people take things too personally, and then when you criticize or you question or whatever, people think you're taking things personally. And I think, you've said it's 1, open meetings. 2, the size of these budgets are huge. The amount of responsibility and the oversight is there. You should be electing people. I personally, it's how I vote. You should be electing people who actually give a bleep. Right? Who want to advocate for you, for the city, for the state, for the whatever level they're going to. That's really the job. The
That will
job's
show
not
up to a debate.
that will
and
show
have
up to a debate.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Ultimately, politics in the state of Massachusetts is run within the political group of the state of Massachusetts.
Yes.
So the politicians say, hey, listen, I'm going to back Vanna Howard. I'm going to back Maura Healey. I'm going to back, I forget who the guy that runs the State House is, the state.
Marino.
Mariano.
Mariano.
Right? I'm going to back him. And then it all stems from them. And they say, Fred, you're up so much in the debate, in the polls. Don't worry about it. We got your back. You don't need to show up. And this has been the new norm in politics in the past 10 years. When there was a strong newspaper in town, you would be challenged as a candidate. And they would have a goddamn debate for a great Lowell Tech school committee seat, right? And George Cooler Harris would run hot, and freaking Hogan would run hot, and people would come in, Mike Lindsay, and people would show up. And ultimately, they were being challenged, and then you saw the real person, and it had value.
Yeah.
It's Sean's turn to read.
Go ahead, Sean.
Remember the campaign against the Lowell Sun about 15 years ago? The sun ain't so hot. Maybe that's why we don't have a local paper anymore.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yes, I said that.
Keep going.
Oh, respectfully, the Lowell Sun's Melanie is a great reporter for the paper. Jay, the rising cost of the Lowell Sun delivery is
What killed the newspaper?
what killed the paper. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Melanie does a good job with what she's got. I just don't think the Sun has the resources to support a news staff, and that's not on an individual staff member. That's on it's a structural problem with the Sun.
So you're saying like Curtis and her are part-time reporters? They don't
Melanie's full-time, but one full-time reporter.
You need more than one of them.
For all the community events, for the political news,
the text, please.
Oh, that's a surprise that Howard won't respond. I'm not reading this one.
I will read it. That's a surprise that Howard won't respond. Not at all. Never shows up unless it's to pick up trash.
The Howardly Lion.
The Howley line didn't show up because she had already won the race. 85% Democrats at the State House. Oh.
Jeez.
Oh, boy.
Havana Howard is another COG in the wheel of the Democrat machine. Cog.
Back over to you guys.
But she will
Well, you
not.
saw there was a vote last week on one of the Republicans. It was right down the party line. It was like to cut the sales tax for a year or put the sales tax on hold for something. They vote together.
Right, but Howard won't be beat unless, like Joe Espinola, he could beat her if he turned into a Democrat.
Oh, he's going to do that.
He has to.
He has to.
No,
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I agree with the counselor in regards to it has to happen in the primary. So
well, I don't think
I think she's in. I think she's in now. She's going to be in for another. You know what? I know you guys. She won. She's going to win again in November.
I agree.
And I think you got to give her a shot here at a term in the Senate.
And ultimately, if a combined vote does not beat the candidate that won, meaning Espinola and Meese against Howard, then they're going to have a hard time.
Right.
Sam Meese beat Espinola.
By
the
the Republican moniker.
With a Lawrence address, which I'll never.
Because he
You'll
ran
be
as a
surprised
Republican,
when he
the
comes
Republicans
back.
voted against the Democrats.
It's not
One
right.
at a time, kids.
So it won't be surprising when he comes back in 2 years as a Democrat.
He can run in Lawrence. Believe it or not, we got state senators in every community. He can run in his own. Go run in Lawrence.
I just don't get that.
Go run in Lawrence. You live in Lawrence. Run in Lawrence.
I don't
Sorry.
get it. Nobody can explain it to me, but
It's like Mitt Romney moved to. I want to be a senator. I'll move to Utah and run. Run where you live. You want to represent a community. Run where you live.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on. I
thank you
appreciate
guys
being on the show.
great show today. Oh wow, less than 30 seconds. Bobby, it's nice seeing you.
Close it out.
Hey, tomorrow's show, we're going to have Lee Gitchie is going to be here with Linda Bound. And the last text of the day, Melanie from the Lowell Sun is biased against Robinson. Last text of the day.
I find that to be true.
I find that to be true, too.
Guys, have a good day.
Goodbye,
Thanks.
everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll
what
see
a
you
great
tomorrow.
show.
Thanks for
you
watching.
guys are awesome.